Okay, so welcome back, and today we're going to do an example, and the example is going to deal with complex zeros. So we're going to be given conditions, and we want to find a polynomial that satisfies the given conditions, and this time we're going to deal with complex zeros as well. Okay, so in this example here, this is find a polynomial function of least degree. That's going to be important. Okay, so of least degree, having only real coefficients, and the zeros 3 and 2 plus I. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to notice here is this is a complex number, right? And so every complex number must have a conjugate that's also a zero of this polynomial. So the zeros that I can add, I'm going to add 2 minus I to the mix. So we know that the zeros are going to be 3, 2 plus I, and 2 minus I. And so in order to be least degree, these have to be the only zeros. So we're going to use these as the only zeros. Okay, so again, having least degree, of least degree, we're going to say that these have to be the only zeros. And so now by the factor theorem, we can write this polynomial, f of x, as factors. Now, how do the factors look? Remember, each one of these is going to be the form x minus k. This is a k value, this is a k value, and this is a k value. So if you want to call this, let's say, again, we could call this k1, k2, and k3. So our factors are going to be 1 minus k1, so that's going to be, or excuse me, x minus k1, which is going to be x minus 3. And then the next one is going to be of the form x minus k2. But k2 is the quantity 2 plus I. So the way we're going to write this is x minus the quantity 2 plus I. Okay? And then likewise, similarly for k3, we'll write it as x minus the quantity 2 minus I. Okay, and so there's our starting point. So at this point, all we have to do is simplify. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this first. Do these first, because they're conjugates. Things are going to cancel out and it'll become very easy. So always do the conjugate pairs first. So this is going to equal x minus 3. And so this is going to become what? We get x times x, which is x squared. We get what? We get negative x, so we get minus 2 minus I times x, and then we get another one, minus 2 plus I x, and then we get what? Plus 2 plus I times 2 minus I. Okay, let me put this in square brackets. Okay, so all I did was use the FOIL method on this. So x times x gives me x squared. X times this gives me this. And then this times x gives me this. And then this times this gives me this. So all I did was the FOIL method. And so now I'm going to simplify this. Okay, so what happens here? So let's just simplify this a little bit. So this will be x squared. This is going to be a minus 2 plus I right? How do I want to do this? Yes. So I'm going to distribute the x, so I'm going to, and then distribute the minus sign. So I'm going to get minus 2x plus I times x. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to get minus 2x minus ix. Now what happens here, I'm going to FOIL again. This is going to give me 4. And then it's going to give me a minus 2i. And it's going to give me a plus 2i. And it's going to give me a minus I squared. So now let's look at see what cancels. Well, I've got a plus ix here and a minus ix here, so those two will cancel. And then I've got a minus 2i and a plus 2i here, so those cancel. And so now what do I get? I get x squared, and then this is going to give me what? A minus 4x. And then what happens here? This 4, well, this becomes a 1, right? Negative I squared. I squared is negative 1. So a negative of a negative 1 is positive 1. So I get 4 plus 1, which is 5. And now I get that. Okay? So, now all I have to do is distribute this across these three terms. Okay? So that's going to be a lot easier. So now I'm going to erase this. So I'm going to start, I'm just going to erase this. And so now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to distribute the x. So the x is going to become x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x. And now I'm going to distribute the minus 3. So this is going to be minus 3x squared plus 12x minus 15. So all I did was distribute the x across each of these terms, and then I distributed the minus 3 across each of these terms. And so now I'm going to simplify this thing, and I get x cubed. Well, I get these two. That's going to give me a minus 7x squared. And then these two together gives me a plus 17x minus 15. And so I get f of x equals that polynomial. Now, just so you know, we don't have enough information to specify a particular a value. Remember, any multiple of this would still satisfy the conditions. Okay? So we're going to assume a is 1, but realize a can be anything. If we had more information, we could specify an a value, but for right now, this would be sufficient, and this is where we would stick with. So this would be the answer to the problem. Okay? And that's it. Make sure you do this one, and do it on your own. Make sure you can do it on your own, and come to the right conclusion. And, if you find yourself getting mixed up, then practice these and ask questions. Okay, that's it. Have a great day.